All right, so cool. This is going to be high find trades and give them to the signals Discord. Gave this Cisco trade here. TP got smashed, and I'm going to talk about how to draw these 4-hour and 1-hour wedges, understand bullish confirmations, and how you guys can pretty much catch profitable trades too. So I did give this trade here on the 17th, as you can see in the Discord, not edited or anything like that. Gave the exact bought Cisco calls here, got it on the 16th actually. See before price was even formed, and then take profit ended up getting smashed right here, of course, alhamdulillah. So take profit got smashed there, and let's talk about how I analyze the setup and how to find setups too. Okay. So what I like to go ahead and do is come to the stock screener on trading view, and then from there I can go ahead and do a couple of things here. I like to set the price here. You can keep it bigger stocks if you want it, but you can't set some lower stocks. But yeah, it's going to be completely up to you. And cap it at 350 and stuff like that. And then go ahead and come here to volume. Let's do sort descending. This is going to put the highest volume stocks at the very top. And you're pretty much going to have a long, beautiful list here. And if you want, you can go to ADR and click on 5% and above too. And it's going to go ahead and just show you some just super duper, just heavy movers right now that people are looking at. Okay. And ADR stands for daily range. Okay. So all of these are big movers, and we can stay within this section here. Okay. So let me go ahead and just grab a stock here. So I like to typically look for just anything with good volume, and I just look at the price structure, make sure it's not too choppy as well. So ideally, I don't want to play stocks where it's chopping up and down a lot of the times. You just want to catch a cream that'll break out too. So here, even with this trend line entry here, I gave this trade out or marked this out a few days ago. We ended up just now filling this 4-hour gap here. Okay. So a lot of these that I click through are just going to be some setups that I put down a few days ago that just ended up having to work out, thank God. And so pretty much I'll start on my daily time frame. Okay. And this is going to be how I would long, for instance. Okay, so I'm going to get on my daily time frame. After I've entered in on my daily time frame, I'm going to zoom out. Okay, I'm going to look all the way to the left to current price. A lot of the times, I'm going to ideally want to make sure that the stock is a bullish stock. So what does that mean? That means that the before years should be lower than where price is now. Okay, so not months, but years. So most of the time, most stocks years and months before current prices showed the case today, the price is going to be much lower, and that means that the stock is more susceptible to going up. Okay, so you can see if you just held from 2022, you'd be in profit right now, because the goal of the market is to ultimately staircase this way up. So with this trade here, I would have noticed that ultimate lows were made already, and I would have noticed some key things here. I would have noticed that when price decided to trend up, higher lows were being made. As you can see, higher lows are being made. Higher lows. So price decides to come, dip, up, dip, 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 dip. Okay. So I like to read the trend like that. After I've read the trend, I can either get on my 1-hour or my 4-hour and go ahead and just analyze a key area of resistance. And I'm going to want to analyze an area of resistance and anticipate that area to be broken. So you can either do this on the 1-hour or the 4-hour. Ideally, the 4-hour is going to be the easiest just to see things. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my 4-hour time frame. And I'm going to go ahead and look for an area of resistance. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and grab my trend line after getting on the daily, realizing that higher lows were being made. And I can also see here on the daily that all-time highs isn't hit yet. So it lets me know that there's definitely some more upside room, which is very, very nice. So now that I know that there's more upside room, I go to my 4-hour here. I would have just grabbed the trend line and just drawn it diagonally from the area of resistance. As you can see, price even decides to do a retest up before it went down. And once we got a close, you could either wait for a 1-hour close or, yeah, whatever you'd like, honestly. Either wait for a 1-hour close or just get in above as soon as price breaks above the trend line a good bit. And then you can get in. Your stop loss should be sized in for 0. And then, your take profit, of course, would go ahead and be the area of resistance that you drew from. Okay. So we can go ahead and check this out here. Boom. And there's almost no right or wrong way to draw the trend line when you're on your 4-hour time frame. You can go to your 1-hour too, just to make sure that it's drawn all the way correctly. And you want to just make sure that the tippity top points are lining up with here, and then boom. And this is going to be the proper way the trend line wants to be drawn. As soon as we did get above it, had a 9:30 entry too right here, right above the trend line, breakout, retest off of it, and then price decided to just trickle up within the next couple of days. And we ended up hitting take profit. Okay? And here's going to be another example here too. Let's take Walmart, for example. So Walmart, I can go ahead and get on my daily time frame here. I can zoom out. I can see that Walmart is very bullish. Okay, this is the last time market was super bearish here in April. Since then, I've just seen higher lows get created. So that lets me know that, okay, market wants to go up, inshallah. So now that I've peeped all those higher lows, I can assume that market is bullish. Now that I know that market's bullish, I can go ahead and just find my setup. So I can see that market formed against this area of resistance right here. I can just get on my 4-hour time frame, go up, and grab your trend line, start it up here. And if you want, there was multiple versions of this trend line here. You could have did it from this resistance here, from that resistance right there. This would have been a nice draw. And price ended up gapping in this, but price seems like it still wants to get bullish. So in this instance, I'm gonna do something like that. Go ahead and delete this, and I can go ahead and see that price, inshallah, wants to come in contact with this resistance here still. Okay. Right. Yes. Yeah. 100%. I'll show you an example. Don't think you're gonna always get like a heavy pullback, because sometimes you just won't. And this is an example of a trade I marked out today. Had taken it up, just pushing. Literally, this is Monday. The Monday candle started here, and we literally, you see how it already started up here. The breakout was down here, and we just ended up pushing, filling the resistance. We're just gonna push and fill the resistance. So a lot of the times this ends up just gonna push and fill the resistance, no matter really where you enter. And this is why we're sized for 0. 100%. And then even this trade. Yep. Well, a lot of the times these will be, because you're playing for such a large amount of points. Yeah. Before take profit gets hit, a lot of the times you're 1 to 1 and 1 to 2 will already be met. And also you're catching, since you're catching so many points too, you're catching premiums on the options contract. So the options contract doesn't just move by pennies. It starts moving by 5s. So, yeah. So That's going to be really, really, really nice when it comes to your profit too. Same thing with this, for example. Even if price, even if you just entered right here, you're okay. Final target up here, because you know price wants to at least tap up here again. It kind of has to before we can do anything. And this is going to be 4 points. So with all these trades, you're going to be catching between like 2 to 10 points every single like thing, unless the stock is just small. Then obviously it's less points because of this, the numbers, like Bank of America, for example. Here's a setup I gave on this. And even this, for example, I gave these 47 calls entry a while ago. And even through sitting through all the drawdown, you see how it going down just literally doesn't matter. It went all the way down to 42 and then, or like 43-ish, and then like in a few days later, like pretty much already back at 47. So this is why we're sized down for zero, because like eventually, inshallah, especially after heavy dips, price will come back up. Price will come back up, especially when you have time, and price will come back up. And even same thing, say you wanted to short, you know, shorting can be a little tricky. If I were to short, it would be something like this. I would start the trend line here like that. As you see, there's no, yep. So I would draw my trend line like this. So let me delete this. There we go. Okay. And then even if price were to pull down, right, and give me like an entry off the trend line, that could either be another calls entry, or if I see price clearly wants to dump down, like say price wants to like break past these areas of support and stuff like that, then I know price ultimately wants to try to touch the trend line. Yeah, and yeah, and that's gonna be that. Yeah, 100%. And yeah, the contracts will update in the morning, but they're still moving, but you just can't see it in real time. Literally. Yeah, yeah. I mean, in either way, you're sized for zero. So, so yeah, exactly. And that literally takes everything out of the trade. Because BAC, for example, like this trade was just super duper easy and right back at 47, even though the price dipped down. And it's like eventually, especially when you have a good eye on the market, inshallah, eventually you will pretty much always hit take profit. You just need time to just wait. Like here with Apple, I wouldn't be surprised if Apple came down to this trend line, especially I see news like this. But yeah, I like to just stick to longing as much as I can, especially when it comes to just purely playing options. Um, and there's gonna be times because March, you know, market was going down pretty much all of March, but there's gonna be times where you can find bullish things too. So I'm just trying to scale. As you see right here, like February and March, how we're going down. So how I honestly would short, I think only way I would short is if it would have to be like 4 hour break and retest. Cause I like to long using the trend line strategy, but if I'm gonna short, I'm gonna have to like plan out some clean break and retest. That's just personally how I like to short. I don't like the trend line short, and yeah, shorting I would definitely just change my strategy up a little bit differently. So let me find a short example here. Let me go ahead and pull up Google. So I know Google's been going down for a little bit here. And then let me go ahead and get on my 1 hour. Okay. Okay. And it's just like, let me check out March, for example, because this stock, it did fall for months. And it would just be so strict. Like if I just didn't get clean break and retest, I just would not take anything. And if I were to play break and retest, I would play like 1 hour break and retest. I say this, for example, like if price came into this little support area right here and then shorted, I would take this down to this area of resistance down there. Expect a long. Yeah, and if I were to short, it would have to be some break and retest, something like that, where price would trickle up and then retest down. But if I just don't see clean break or retest, I just don't see myself taking a setup. I like this support over here too. So if I see price run all the way up and then short, that'd maybe be a good short, honestly. So if you wanted to short, say market's in heavy downtrends, then what I would do is get on my 1 hour or 4 hour. I would look for areas of support. And then I would just wait for price to just show you break and retest off of those areas. And then you could take it out to the next area. Like say right here. Like if price gave me break and retest off like, even off these two right here, price gave me break and retest off of that, then I would go ahead and I would feel comfortable taking that. Yep. Yeah, and I would take it down to the trend line. Yeah. Well, I would take it down to the trend line. So if price breaks the support, yeah. Because I'm expecting price to bounce here. I don't believe it's going to gap fill all the way down there. Most of the time, it's not going to do that. So shorting is going to be just tricky. Shorting, you do have to be very, very precise when you short, because the goal of the market is for it to go up. So if it does go down, it's not going to go down for very long. But there can be times. That's why I just do want to prepare you. Like there can be times like this though, to where it's just going down for months. And, you know, obviously we're still going to have to try and find profitable trades. I'm going to see if there's break and retest. Yeah, this, for example, would have to be very precise, you know. In order for me to short, I would only short break and retest. So price decided to break past the support here. And then as you can see, retest, and then we trickle down. After I would have seen like a 1 hour candle close that price wants to go back down, then you can go ahead and enter there. Price will most likely want to short. And yeah, it's really just being just super specific with the market, just being picky with our trades, being picky with everything that we take, and not just taking anything on the block, not taking any just bullshit trades, you know? So yeah, and the trend line way is just, in my opinion, like one of the easiest ways to just read the market just like that. Because sometimes you just won't get clean, perfect break and retest like how you would expect to want it, or you might get retraced on. But yeah, once you are able to read the market though, you're gonna be able to just set up some super duper clean and easy trades. So you can either play trend line or mark out some break and retest, whichever you want. Say this right here, for example. I can see how price came in contact with the support, with the resistance right here. Okay, so I know that price most likely will want to short from here again. Okay, so if it does, I can either short, catch an entry from that, or just catch the trend line continuation all the way up. So there's gonna be multiple ways you can go ahead and play. And ideally though, we don't want to be playing against the trend, because if you check this out, if you look at this area of support right here, it did turn into resistance, but we of course didn't short ultimately. We only shorted for a little bit. You know, we're not getting rich catching 1 point, you know? So that's why it doesn't really matter the micro reactions, but yeah, it is important to know how to read these zones and stuff like that too. And then you can go ahead and easily mark out some profitable and simple trades. So either break and retest or trend lines, they're gonna go ahead and be your absolute best friend in every single scenario. Same thing here with Apple. I clearly see that price wants to come in contact with this resistance here on the 1 hour. Okay, and we already had a pullback here. So for Apple, if I were to get a pullback like right here off this resistance, right? And price already did give me a kind of pullback, but if price wanted to give me another one here, that would definitely be a buy, and I can just take it up here again too. So either trend line or break or retest is going to give you the answer ideally that you do want within the market. And yeah, they're both going to be needed to know just how to play. So yeah, even for this, for example, check out this RBBRK. So you look at this bullish setup here, just super duper simple, just very simple and clean, just 4 hour simple gap fill play happening right here. We just had a piece of the breakout, so I can see that price. Yep, not 100%. Boom. So I can go ahead and draw that, or I can get on my 1 hour if I want, and I can scope things out. I could be like, okay, if I get a pull back to maybe, yeah, either, well, guess where the trend line is right at? Pretty much like these resistances too. So let me go ahead and fix the trend line a bit. So yeah, so either break and retest or the trend line is going to give you your answer, like 99% of the time. So I can see price shorted here, and I saw we had a breakout above it, so I might need a retest off this area. If I get a retest off this area, I can easily see price gap filling all the way up here. So either, once again, trend line breakouts or break and retest. You know, even for this here, or break and retest 100%. And then even this here, I can see that price might need another test of this resistance here. So if I see some buying off this resistance again, that would most likely be a trade. I can see this one reacted. And that could be the tricky thing with break and retest sometimes. Sometimes you won't get a clean retest where you want it or where ideally you think it would be. It just won't come. So that's why the trend line, especially for options, is going to be fantastic. So yeah, see here for CRM, boom, just got to be getting in the trend line breakout and then waiting for this gap fill here, right here. You know? %. Yep. And I can see price got here because of the support right here. And then we shorted. I believe we want to get above this. So we have to meet this in order for us to break and retest. And actually, yeah, definitely get in. Yep. And it actually did, because this was the first breakout candle, and then this is the close candle here. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, that's the close candle. So now that we are above it and above this tiny resistance right here, we can definitely get in. Definitely get in and go ahead and catch that nice gap fill. And it's going to be each and every single time. We can go ahead and just continue to just farm this over and over again. So if you're going to short, I would break and retest. But if you're going to long, definitely trend line gap fills. Trend line gap fills and then break and retest for shorts. And as you can see, every single play I sent pretty much is that take profit or has worked out. Let me check lift. And I'm waiting for SMCI now. We had some bearish news, but we recovered 2 points really fast. So I expect that to go back up quickly too. I wasn't tripping about that at all. It's really just about not being emotional too that you're in drawdown, because it happens. So lift, let me check this out. Get on the 4 hour here. Alright, so even with lift here, see price just fell down into a super heavy low. Price fell down into a super heavy low. Starting to see some bullish reaction here. Okay. So I can just start at the top of this. Draw. Boom. Take profit. And same thing with lift too. I could easily just catch this gap fill. Catch it back up here. Especially since I'm above the supports too. I see that we don't want to short at these supports. So I think we want to get back up to the resistances. And we can see how much upside room there is too. So boom. And then we go ahead and get on my 1 hour here. Make sure everything looks clean. Nice. The drawing's exactly how it needs to be. Amazing. And yeah, should be able to catch this 4 hour trend line right back up to the resistance, catch the gap fill, and then price could potentially reverse again, but you will catch that profit in between this gap here, most likely, inshallah. Because it seems price doesn't want to reverse and keep going in a downward trend yet. So just pretty much just take market logic and just put it into your setups. And when you do that, you're going to be a lot more profitable. Disney, for example, here too. Disney. Have this take profit up here. Disney just broke out. And we're starting to here, waiting for take profit around the 120s area, but price seemed to just break out. So we'll see what this looks like here. And then inshallah, we'll wait for price to just go ahead and get up to these 2 resistances right here. And we might want to push even further from that. And especially, I really like buying after price already had a major sweep down. So when I see major sweep downs from like a week or two ago or something, I'm excited. And this happened on Monday. Price went up from, literally look at this recovery. This is today. Price went from 115 to 118 in one single day. So this is why like price going down is so irrelevant. It's so stupid. And if you would have closed your calls, say for example, like you would have just felt stupid because price would have just recovered on you. So that's why I think stuff is meant to literally just fake people out and put liquidity in the market. Because if you hold and you just sit on these trades, eventually take profit. We'll get here, inshallah. Especially when you're not shorting and the company's coming out with good news, like your take profit is almost inevitable. It just depends on how much time you have on your contract. And then I have this setup here marked on Fit TV. And gotcha, FITB. And then this one, yep, and then we ended up just smashing take profit here, as you can see, trend line here. First entry here on the Wednesday, no market open on Thursday, and then Friday, and then take profit hit on Monday. So take profit hit in around 3 days here on this trade. And as you can see, not even like any retracement. Literally as soon as the trend line broke, just straight to it. And I had another good example of this. Reddit just blasted a take profit. Oh, my bad, wrong one. We'll flip Reddit here. So you can see Reddit here. I want you to check this out. This stock was absolutely just crazy. We had a 4-hour play here on Reddit, and we even smashed the second take profit up here too. That's crazy. So Reddit would have made literally an account flipper, like you could have made like 10,000 from this play. And that's the thing about these type of plays too. You just catch one. You literally just catch one. You see how often these setups work out. It's just about patience. You just catch one, you'll be good. You'll be good. Price didn't even retrace off the breakout trend line here. So I drew from this resistance up here, drew it off this one, and we ended up having a 9 o'clock trend line entry, straight to the breakout, straight to take profit, no retracement at all. And yeah, just extremely simple. Cool. With Reddit too, let's see, we want to trickle down, but we'll see if we get some true break and retest like down here. Yeah. And the same thing here too. If I were to just grab the top of this trend line here, just draw it out. Then I can go ahead and zoom in here. And even with this little new trend line, I can easily just make my take profit up here, 148. And then just wait for price to go ahead and get above this area. Price clearly wants to come test these highs. So I could just wait for price to break the trend line, retest the highs. As I can see here on the daily, stupid upside rim. So I could easily wake up to another gap up if I truly did want to. So study the bullish momentum, study the trend, and then you could literally just wake up to money constantly. So there's no such thing as missing an entry too. Here would be a re-entry example for this resistance up here. Wait for this to get past, break out, boom, and then price will come back up here, inshallah. Nice 10 points. So your 4 hours really gonna be your best friend after you use your daily. And then you can use your 1 hour time frame to make sure that the setup is just as crispy as it should look on the 4-hour. Yeah, so the 4-hour, you can use your 1 hour after the 4-hour just to confirm the setup and make sure it looks clean. Yep. 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 That's gonna go ahead and be that. So even this right here, take this trend line for example. Price was here on Friday. See how we literally just gap filled that shit easily. Even if I were to just draw that on the 1 hour, ended up just gap filling it super fast. This could be in a downtrend though, maybe. Nah, this is an uptrend. Okay. Get my 1 hour time frame here. Yeah, no, this is 1 day. This is all Monday. So 1 day take profit. Yep. Yeah. And then I guess the short. There we go. Yeah. Yep. And then with this here, there we go. If I wanted this take profit up here, easily draw that. And you can see this tip lines up with this corner here, and we're still above it, still on our way to here. So if I were to get like a trend line tap, yeah, well, no. If price came down to the trend line, well, not ideally, because it keeps wanting to push up. So, yeah, so this is the next take profit here. So now if I see price like come down and like tap the trend line, for example, then I can maybe go ahead and buy in. If I see like a wick off the trend line, then yeah. So ideally, there's no such thing as missing a trade because there's always going to be just different take profits. Like BAC, for example, like my take profit was originally that 46 area, but we ended up breaking above that. And now I can clearly see where we're heading to next. I can clearly see how we're heading to up here. This area up here. But then you see how we broke through this area right here. And then we also smashed through this. So and this was such a nice trade. Oh man. Yeah, contract's already back at 47 pretty much. So, and yeah, this literally just shows you that if you just hold and wait, it doesn't give a fuck like how much that shit goes down. Eventually, if you bought at like a not a horrible place and the market is moving decent, like you'll win. Like you'll win. You will 100% win. Now, when market is downtrending like this, you know, let me just go back, look at this example here. From here, it's really just gonna have to be pure, either breakouts or just pure break and retest. I saw something like that. Okay. So let me pull up a short example here. So you either can do break and retest, or once again, it's gonna be the downward trend line play. But this can be, yeah, 100%. Yeah, it can be on any stock. Okay. So I'm gonna want it to just line up with that dip down. Cool. So this is all lining up, right? So if this were to break, like if this trend line breaks, I can get in for a short. Could definitely get in for a short. Either support or resistance, because don't forget, resistance turns into. So I don't just think supports just go straight to other supports too. It can, but don't forget, a goal could be resistance for just another retest entry too. Okay. Ooh. So yeah, so that's gonna go and be that. And did you have any questions?